NHL best bets for Wednesday, November 19th. Welcome to PuckTime, WagerTalk TV. Andrew, Carmine, and Buster with you guys today. Let's make some money on the ice. Let's cash some tickets. We've got sides, we've got totals, we've got props, lots of stuff to look at. Carm, it should be a good day on the ice today. Yesterday, I started out 2-0, and I ended the night 2-2 in the NHL, which I'm not happy about. I'll tell you what, I cannot get an empty net goal right now to save my life. These nets could be empty for about 20 minutes, and I would not get an empty net goal. But hey, at least I was right on the show about the Vegas Golden Knights, because I heard Brian say, I don't want to go against Andrew when he's on the show. So he started saying it when I got off the show, when I had to leave. But hey, the joke is on me because I didn't even win on them. I had the team total. So we hit with the $5 play, though. Shout out to all of you guys that joined me. We had the Columbus and a Winnipeg over the total. And Carm, you had it a little bit easier because, well, you just had Winnipeg in regulation and they carried the bulk of the load for my over.
Easy. Very easy. Yeah, they got it done, Andrew. So I'm pretty happy with the way things turned out as far as that game goes. I was giving our good buddy the Prez a hard time all night because he had a 5% play on the Leafs. And the injuries in that game, obviously Austin Matthews, the injuries we knew about, but then Matthew Nyes gets ruled out as well too. The line plummets to like 110 both ways. He's worried about it. And his Wi-Fi, I think he's using like those AOL discs and dial-up because like he's 15 seconds behind. So I started screwing with him. I'm sending him, guys, I'm telling you, I'm sending him text messages in the third period. And it's totally messing with his mind that he got pissed off. He's like, stop sending these messages. Because I'm like, oh my God, right? How did they miss that? And like nothing happened. It was a commercial break. And I'm sending him these and driving him nuts. And then just before the Leafs scored, I sent him a text message that said, F, F, F. Sorry, man. I was pulling for you. And then the Leafs scored. So he got that message and thought he lost. He lost the play, but he ended up winning the play. So, Andrew, you got to give the guy a hard time.
And I'll tell you, everyone's going to talk about that Nylander goal, and it was such a nice goal. But, Carm, I was saying this on Twitter. You got to give credit to Tavares, Johnny T. People will make fun of how much he took for that contract when he first signed, like 11.5 or 10.5, whatever it was. But, man, he is on a steal of a contract now. What is he making, like 4.5 sheets? This guy was battling in overtime, pretty much had 3 Blues players on him in the boards. He won the battle. He kicked it back, and they ended up scoring. Great goal there from Nylander. And before we get into our first game, everyone's talking about it right now. We got multiple comments coming in, and TJ says NHL is in good hands with the future. Carm, if you're Gary Bettman right now, if you are someone that works in the NHL or you're a hockey fan or hockey media member, to get Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini both getting a hat trick in one night, it is just exactly what you want to see. As someone that's just grew up watching the Ovechkin versus Crosby rivalry and all these great players, unfortunately, Crosby's not going to be around forever in this league. Ovechkin's not going to be around forever in this league. It seems like it's a really good time for some of these younger players. But as your number one fan says here, Carm, let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the games. Calgary visiting your Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo. I'm curious here, Carm. Is this a spot for the Buffalo Sabres you're willing to take with this price? I mean, a lot of times I like to say I'm going to read what the books are telling us, and how many times a year are you ever going to get the Buffalo Sabres minus 160? Realistically, I don't know how many times it will ever happen this season, but we have it right now. Buffalo minus 155, 160 at home. What do you think?
The line's where it should be. They probably should be. I know it's hard to believe. It might be just a touch inflated because of the fact that they beat the Edmonton Oilers 5-1 and beat them handily in that game just a couple nights ago. But they're not the type of team that strings together the same type of effort each and every night. And it's funny because I was actually heading to Tim Hortons to grab my coffee, and I'm listening to the Sabres WGR 550, and they're talking about like the Buffalo Calgary game. And it's like, for the Sabres, this is a must win. You're supposed to beat up on teams like Calgary. And it's kind of true. The Flames are not playing the best of hockey right now. Obviously, there's something like 2-10 on the road this season. But every once in a while, they jump up and surprise you, and they would do it against a team like the Buffalo Sabres. Sabres are 157, Calgary's 129. Like, the total sits here at 6. I looked at a bunch of different angles in this game to try and find a play. And what have I always said to you, Andrew, and to you guys in the chat? When you look at a game and you're trying to find a play within that game, you look at the full line, you look at the first period line, you look at puck lines, the regulation lines. If you're struggling to find a play, then it should be no play. Something should always stand out to you. Should the Sabres win tonight? Of course they should win. The first period, you can't play the first period on the money line or the first period total with these two, because they have, statistically this season, they have bad numbers. The Sabres, as far as first period totals on the year, have a negative ROI. And I believe it's the same thing with the Calgary Flames, who don't score a lot of goals. And that's what's keeping me off of the total. Total sits here at 6, and it's a total that very well could land on 6. You're going to have to see a lot of penalties in order to get and power plays to get this over that number. And even then, you might not get it. I get it. Former goalie of the Buffalo Sabres, traded by Adams he was traded to San Jose for a 7th round draft pick. Andrew, imagine that. Cooley traded to San Jose for a 7th round pick. He hasn't been bad. He's only played a couple of games. Dustin Wolf's the main guy in Calgary right now. So, for me, it's one of those ones where I think this is his 3rd start of the season. His goals against average is something like 1.75. He's got a save percentage over 9. He would love to come back to Buffalo and stonewall this team. There's it's a completely different narrative for a team that's going nowhere. That is like, let's win one for our goalie and play well defensively. Like anything, I'd probably lean to the under. If this was 6.5, I would be on the under. So this is telling you at 6, I don't even want to be on the over. So with that said, Andrew, it's a slight lean to the under in this one, and it would not surprise me if the Calgary Flames pulled off the upset at plus 129. So those are my thoughts. What are yours?
Wow, I was trying to pay you a compliment there, and I was muted. But I like a lot of the thoughts that you just said there, Carm. I'm with you on that. And this Flames team, last 10 games, 5-on-5 expected goals against, number 1 team defensively right now, 5-on-5 last 10 games. So something worth noting here for this team. I think that when you look at this spot here, I know that we don't talk about splits as much in NHL action as we do probably in NFL. The sharp, square, all that stuff. This spot here, Carm, you got the second half of a back-to-back. You got the backup goalie. You got the Buffalo Sabres playing the best they've played in all season. Couple good games in a row. Does it seem like a spot where anybody in the world would want to be on the Calgary Flames? And it kind of makes me want to be on them. It kind of makes you want to be that contrarian. But I like the under just like yourself in this one. Sometimes when you look at a game, you realize a team is not going to be able to go goal for goal with their opponent. And I know it might sound like I'm giving Buffalo too much credit, but I don't think this Flames team is going to be able to go goal for goal with the Buffalo Sabres. And you know what? Chicago, a lot of people liked them as a dog last night, and they get the job done. And simply, Carm, they had more talent than Calgary did. Like, Bedard gets a hat trick, that's great. But either way, that team still looked like they had more speed and more offense to them. So one thing that I've been looking at lately is that there's some times where fatigue can lead towards over. Like, for example, one thing I've noticed, Carm, that I used to bet the overs of a last game of a road trip for a team. And now this season, the unders of a last game of a road trip. It's almost like I used to think the overs would hit because of fatigue that would lead to goals. But sometimes that last game of the road trip or even second half of back-to-back, the formation, it's, we'll channel some of your soccer instincts, Carm. The formations, like the tactics of how the team is playing, they're sitting back more, protect the goalie, protect your end of the ice, be a little bit more neutral zone. So maybe we'll get that tonight, but I do lean towards the under a little bit here tonight. I'm with you on the under. I like that.
Yeah, and you almost want to look at it, like how we correlate who you like is how you bet the total. Sometimes if you like the Sabres, then if the Sabres win, it's likely going to be a game with some goals. Sabres don't get into a lot of low scoring 2-1 type games, especially if you look at their games recently. There have been some higher scoring games, even if they're on the wrong end of it. The game in Detroit didn't look like it was going to have some goals, and all of a sudden, before you know, boom, it's 5-4 in overtime for the Buffalo Sabres. Sometimes they get them. It's what kind of a game does Calgary come and play? At the end of the day, you're looking at it, and when you're looking at numbers, guys, you're looking at the Sabres and you're seeing 157, and you say, well, the Calgary Flames are, for no disrespect intended, but man, they're a shit franchise right now. Yeah, they're last place in the Western Conference, 13 points. Who was also in last place? The Buffalo Sabres with 18 points in the Eastern Conference. And one team is laying $1.60. If they played this game 10 times, do the Sabres win 7 of 10 in order for you to be profitable? I'm not exactly sure at this number that they would win 7 out of 10 games. So I think that's the right number that they would need to win in order to make betting this line profitable. We'll see what we get tonight. I'm interested just from the goalie angle. I don't even know what the Sabres got as a 7th round pick, who they drafted when Kevin Adams sent him over. I'm not sure if you can find it, Andrew, while I'm looking.
But I'm just going to add, Carm, the funny thing is Cooley is 0-2-1 on the season, but he got a 1.75 GAA and 9.35 percentage. Yeah. It's like, how can you be 0-2-1 on the season, but you have a 1.75? That goes to show how bad this team is offensively, right? They just can't score.
And that's it. He lost the game. He lost the game to, I think it was Minnesota, where it was 2-0 was the final score. And one of the goals was an empty netter. So only one goal counts against him. And then I think he was on the right or on the wrong end of like a 4-3 game as well too. That might have been, or a 3-2 game. I think it was a 3-2 game. So it's not that he's been bad, but it's been all dust and it's been all wool for nothing, right? So this is sort of the thing. And with Calgary, they're just going to stick with Wolf. Other teams where there's been a heavy workload, guys like Connor Hellebuck, he is going to get the best thing that the Winnipeg Jets could do with him is give him some nights off, kind of like they did yesterday. I had no problem last night when I heard Eric Comrie was the goalie for Winnipeg, because he is a good backup. He just, especially in a style that the Winnipeg Jets play, where they swamp you in their defensive zone, don't give you a lot of O-zone time, keep the shots on the outside. Goalies can work within that system for him. So I had no problem with Comrie in goal last night. Never changed my thought on the play at all. Andrew, the funny thing is I spent about half an hour yesterday talking to a good friend of mine who works for Canadian Border Security. And I was joking around about that December 4th when Buster flies back to Mexico. And the guy's like, what's he look like? So I go, watch the show tomorrow at about 11:15. We're going to bring him on. So with all that said, hey, welcome to the show, Don Buster.
Thank you very much, Carmine. Thank you very much. And for me, I'm very fortunate that I don't have to worry about any of that stuff going into Mexico or, any kind of cavity searches at all, because a very good friend of mine, he actually does all the IT work, his company, for Quintana Roo, which is all through Cancun and everywhere, and the Yucatan, which is in Merida where I live. So yeah, I have a few names that I can drop when need be. So in other words, my friend, do not come to Mexico without your beautiful wife, because if you come for a little party trip, maybe I will decide to pull a few cards out. How's that?
No, I'm going to be living in Aruba, so I'm already looking at a place
I
in
don't blame you
Aruba
that,
and one in Italy. So my time would be split between Italy and Aruba. But with that said, two places I don't want to live. No disrespect to either one of them, but Edmonton and Washington. Washington minus 123 tonight, Buster. Edmonton plus 101. Total sits here at 6. Tell us how you are breaking this one down.
Yeah, Carmine, as I mentioned yesterday, it was yesterday, that I went to that Edmonton Buffalo game on Monday night. And now the Oilers continue the 7-game road trip. And really going here to Washington after I know you had a feeling that Buffalo really shut them down, which maybe they did, but I looked at it as Edmonton just was basically a no-show on Monday. They didn't do any part of the game well at all. On that same night, the Capitals won a 2-1 coin flip against the Kings. So the Capitals did start the season off quite well. They were 6-2 to start the season. But since that start, they're 3-8. And although they did beat Edmonton in both games last year, I really haven't been a Capitals fan this year. I figured they were going to be one of the teams that might not make the playoffs this year out of that East. And it's early, so only time will tell. But I really do like Edmonton as a bounce back spot here. And you can get them. I got them earlier for my clients at plus 104. Their pick were 104 now. I got to believe that's going to come up as the day progresses. They're 2-2 on this road trip. And I have to believe that they're going to play a much better game than they did in Buffalo on Monday night. Like, their offense was non-existent. They played terrible. I mean, terrible on defense. I know people blame Skinner, but I mean, it wasn't the goals that Buffalo scored. They just played terrible defense. And we all know Edmonton does that from time to time. And then they put on a great defensive performance, which I'm expecting a lot better tonight. And they only had one power play in that game. So that kind of hurts Edmonton when that happens as well. They do have the number 3 power play. And in this game, that gives us a little benefit. They go up against the Capitals' 26th penalty kill. So we like that there. Also, a little bit more to like on the special teams. Capitals, they're 30th on the power play. So Edmonton has a really good advantage in the special teams. And that's what you want with an Oilers club when you have McDavid and Draisaitl, that's for sure. So overall, I just can't turn down the Oilers at the plus 104 I got, or the pick. Just can't turn them down here against a Washington team that I really don't think are as good as what they did at the beginning of the year. And it's starting to show now. Like I said, they're 3-8. Of course, like always, I will break down the total a little bit for everyone here. Total's at 6. Kind of do lean to the over, but I've got a few takebacks, and that doesn't put me on the game. But they are 6-3, these two teams, when they get together to the over. The Oilers are 5-1-1 the last 7 games to the over when it's at 6. So there might be something there. And with the special teams, the way Edmonton special teams are, they might be able to put a few goals in there, so that could help. But the reason we leave this alone, the total really, is because of what I said earlier. I really believe Edmonton is going to play a much better game, and that includes on defense as well, because they couldn't play any worse on defense than they did on Monday night. Also, I haven't seen it since this morning, but it looks like it will be Skinner and Thompson. Thompson's been playing. It's probably saved Washington some games. They probably could have lost on Monday, from what I understand. I kind of looked through some of the tape after, and they could have lost that Kings game too. But again, there's been some good goaltending by Washington, and we'll see if that and that's another reason why I could kind of see this being like a 3-1, 4-1 Edmonton game, but I could also see it going, 6-4, because just the way, Edmonton sometimes does play defense. But in this game, in this situation, I really expect Edmonton to have a really good bounce back game, and we take the Oilers here and we leave the total alone.
Yep, Buster Skinner and Logan Thompson are both confirmed now to be starting in tonight's game. So those are the confirmed starters in that one. But I do get it. Like you're getting plus money on Edmonton. You don't see it very often. And at plus 101, it might not be there by the time game time rolls around, because the Oilers seem to be a team that people like and like betting on, because they have your good friend McJesus on it. And Brian Leonard wanted me to let you know that you said that he can't walk on water. Well, water is frozen. Frozen water is ice. So, and he was on ice. So
yes,
you know that.
I did see that comment, and it actually wasn't me that made that comment. It was my wife. I think she was very disappointed that she didn't see the better McDavid. And sometimes that happens, right? I mean, it's a long season, and they just don't put their best forward sometimes. And he had a tough night. He actually, and I'm not sure if anybody was watching the telecast or whatever, but in the third period, he did a hit and fell on the ice. He actually went right back to the dressing room, and we were sitting center ice right across from the benches. And my wife says to me, "What happened? He's not quitting the game, is he?" I'm like, "No, I don't think he'll probably be back. I don't know what happened," but he went right off the ice, and then he did come back. But what I did say is that, no, it looks like this whole Edmonton team quit in the third period. And I kind of believe that happened. And I got to believe that's not going to happen tonight. They're going to show a lot of pride. They're going to show they're going to get a good game. If they can beat Thompson, I think they're good. They're good to go.
And I'll touch on this later on in my prop segment, but I think Hyman being back is really good for this Oilers team. Like, it's underrated. I think as a player, he's underrated. People talked about him being kind of a tap-in merchant because all of his goals were just tap-ins by the net, but he works well with McDavid. And it sounds funny to say, but it takes a special type of player to be able to play with a skilled player like that. Not everybody could play with Sidney Crosby. Not everybody could play with Connor McDavid. You need to be a good enough player to be able to go, up and down the ice with those guys, Buster. So I'm with you. I think it's a good spot for them. Hopefully they bounce back, but the total is interesting. My take is I lean towards the first period over if I was playing the over, but don't necessarily love the full game over. I think that we should see the game start with a bang, especially on the Oilers side. That frustration is going to be there. The anger is going to be there. So we'll see if they come out with a bang right away. That one, unfortunately, for you and your wife, Buster, that one's going to be a little bit more fun to watch probably than the Buffalo game for the Oilers, at least. We'll see.
And just I see some people in our live chat talking about like the Edmonton Oilers record in like back-to-backs, and this is a back-to-back. It's not a back-to-back for the Oilers. They didn't play last night.
Exactly.
Their last game was in Buffalo a couple nights ago. So this is not a true back-to-back for
front half of back-to-back. They play tomorrow.
Yeah. So I tend to look at the second half of a back-to-back when trying to evaluate a back-to-back, not the front half of it. Buster, what do you have to promote at WagerTalk?
We just we have a little NHL double play up today for I know it's only 4 games slate, so you already have my Edmonton play that we put out to clients, and our other 2 NHL plays put in a little package, only $19. You can go over to WagerTalk.com, go to Don Buster, and grab that. And also, just wanted to remind you one of those great deals that are on at the site. We still have that Weekend Warrior package for the NFL and college football on Saturday and Sunday. Every play you get with the football, including 5% plays, only $49. It's on all the capper sites, but go to Don Buster and grab ours for the NFL and college football for this weekend. $49 is a great deal. And as always, guys, I appreciate you having me on back-to-back days. I have to write this down on the calendar. I was kind of shocked. Very, very, very thankful, you guys. And hopefully we can give out another winner like we did yesterday.
All
Good
right.
stuff, Doc.
We
Keep it up,
shall.
man.
Yeah, we love having you on, and thank you for wearing those pajama tops on today's show. I think
Mexican clothes, Carmine. Mexican clothes.
Yeah, Mexican clothes. Well, you're
Looking
living in
good,
Canada
brother.
still. So, with that said, listen, best of luck to you tonight, Buster. Hopefully, you kill it in NHL, and of course, the Weekend Warrior stuff as well, too, my friend.
Best of luck, guys. Take care.
See you, brother.
Andrew, we're going to talk about Boston and Anaheim. Just to let you guys know, there is no pod play today. Yesterday's pod play, the plus money, we got the closing line value. The Rangers went from like plus 140 down to plus 110 at game time, but they lose 3-2. There's nothing on the card other than my plays at WagerTalk that I have loaded. I have a couple plays up that I really like. Tomorrow's a better day for the pod. So I may have one or two pod plays going tomorrow. But what I do have, and I'll discuss it a little later on in the show, is my look ahead. I have a team that I think has a nice little win streak coming up, and I'll explain to you why and who they play. But before that, Andrew, we got to talk the Boston Bruins and the Anaheim Ducks. The last time these teams played, which was earlier this season, I think it's just a little while ago, 12 goals, Andrew, 12 goals scored in that game. Anaheim wins it 7-5 in Boston. Minus 170 at home right now, plus 139. Is regression hitting this Bruins team yet or no?
If you had to ask me which teams I wish I have taken more this season so far, the Anaheim Ducks are certainly at the top of that list, this Ducks team. Carm, whenever we think the R word is starting to come out for the Ducks, they end up pulling it off and winning games, whether it's against the Mammoth or whether it's against the Eastern team, whether it's against a competitive Western opponent, whoever it's been. This Anaheim team has been able to pull it off, and there's been no regression from them. Now, for the Boston Bruins, as far as the XG is concerned, we're starting to see some of that regression, but they are limiting some teams. But when it comes to this Ducks team, this is a team similar to kind of how you were talking about earlier in the show. When you bet on them to win, this is a team total type of team for me. When I like the Ducks, I'm going to take the team total. And if you ask me, out of two teams that are kind of in that sort of similar range, which team total I like more, the Buffalo one or the Anaheim one tonight, it would be the Anaheim one. And when I look at this, these numbers here, last 10 games, 5-on-5, expected goals against. Boston's coming in at the 12th highest as far as the expected goals against. This team is giving up chances, and more importantly, Carm, they're relying on goaltending every single night. And I'm telling you, when you talk about relying on goaltending and the way Jeremy Swayman has just been standing on his head, that type of stuff just can't be sustained, So sure, you've got two good goalies going head to head. Lucas Dostal and Jeremy Swayman are probably the two goalies that are going to be going tonight. But I'm looking for regression to come for Jeremy Swayman. So Ducks to get to 4 goals is my play. I got a few player props I like as well. And 2 of them I'll mention in the same game parlay segment. But Carm, look, man, who knows when this Ducks team is going to slow down? And if it happens to be tonight, I'll be shocked if it happens against the Bruins. But we got to tip our cap to this Ducks team because they seem to be a popular team going into the season. A lot of people liked them, and they just flipped that. So imagine right now you're Joel Quenneville. You haven't coached in the league for a handful of years. You come back, and this is the best year the Ducks have had since what? Like before COVID, like way before COVID, years ago, this Ducks team. So they're finally back. So it's a good year to be a Ducks fan.
Yeah, it is thus far. You know what I mean? Like they had that 3-game skid, and I actually favored them a couple of times during that one, and then they get the win last time out. Are they back on the winning track? I'm not necessarily sure. I'm not sure if I want to lay $1.70. The Bruins have lost 2 of the last 3, but if you go back there and just use a 10-game sample size, they're 8-2. But the 2 out of 3 kind of stand out because, having watched the games and watching the one against Carolina, they really didn't play a very good game against Carolina. They effectively, that score was a 3-0 score. I think the Bruins got one with like 16 seconds left on the clock or what have you to make it 3-1 and make it look somewhat respectable. They get shut out. It's one of those ones where if they're not fully healthy and there's guys missing from the lineup, and the Bruins have a few players missing, we know McAvoy is one of them. If they're not scoring, they're going to have a tough time on the road beating teams that are high energy teams. Anaheim went in there and the Bruins tried to play a slower paced game. Anaheim just up and down the wings. It was unbelievable. But when you play like that, you allow a lot of goals as well too, and that's why the Bruins scored 5 in that game. It was unbelievable, and that game was 1-1 after one period. There's 10 goals scored in the final 2 periods of that game. Now, does that mean that they scored 12 goals in that game, that there's going to be a similar in this game? And I tend not to think so, Andrew. It's kind of like we look at it. If two teams are playing true back-to-backs against each other, the team that loses the first one, you want to come back and play them in the second one and look at the two teams splitting. Just because there was goals in the first does not mean there's going to be goals in the second game. And that's why the total sits here at 6.5, because they're looking at that and they're looking at the fact that it's in Anaheim. Bruins have, they've got this one, and then they play, I think they finish off this 3-game trip with the LA Kings and San Jose. And then they head back. It's a 4-game trip for them, essentially. They head back to the East Coast, and I think they play the New York Islanders before heading home. So we'll see where they are in 4 games' time and whether regression has kicked in. But I would keep an eye on it, because if they were to lose to Anaheim tonight, and then you've got the Kings up next, who are very good on the road but need those home wins, that's going to be a big game for the Bruins, because if they lose the first 2, Andrew, maybe that losing streak kicks in full gear, and the Sharks just pound them as well too. The Bruins are probably going to be favored against the Sharks. I would expect that line to be about -125 for the Bruins over the Sharks. We'll see where it comes out at. But as far as this game goes and the total, if I had to lean on it, it's similar to you. I think the Ducks team total is the right play here.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get some goals out of them, Carm. And you mentioned that road trip there. I just want to look at the standings right now in the Eastern Conference. The Boston Bruins with 24 points in 21 games. They go on that road trip. The Buffalo Sabres have 18 points. Maple Leafs have 20 points in 20 games. So the Bruins have played 1 more game than the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they have 4 more points than them. So, Carm, obviously, we're talking about playoff stuff here, and it's November 19th, but this conference in this division, in the Atlantic Division, is so competitive that a small little rut can really hurt you. And that really is what goes to show with the Montreal Canadiens. Like, thank God for their good start, because they just lost 4 in a row. But it's about some of these teams that have the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs for their season. And you got to be able to withstand some of those blows. But you're forecasting maybe a tough road trip for them, but you've got one team you're looking at that maybe could have an interesting path in their next couple of games. Let's bring it up if you're ready for that.
Oh, so you don't want to do your same game parlay first?
I just have your image ready. I got your image ready.
All right. Let me get my notes out here. All right, boys. We are going to talk about the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers, and the fact that this team is still near the bottom of the standings. And I get it. There's injuries to this team, but they have a 5-game road trip, and this is what it's going to look like. Yes, I those are my graphics. It's the best I could come up with. But you look at this one, and here's Florida's next 5 games. They play New Jersey, Edmonton, Nashville Predators, Philadelphia, and Calgary. So here's a few things. Number one, of those 5 games, there's no back-to-backs. There's no 3 games in 4 nights, and a majority of them are at home. That's number one. Number two, You look at their first game against New Jersey. New Jersey, less than full strength right now. We know about Jack Hughes and that injury. A bit of a revenge game because the Devils did beat Florida 3-1 in New Jersey. But New Jersey's only 6-5 on the road this season. I think they start off this 5-game swing with a win there. Now they get Edmonton, who are playing their third game in 4 nights. They're 3-7, their last 10 visits to Florida. And we know some of those have to do with the Stanley Cup Finals as well, too. Third game in 4 nights for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not a big fan of that. Florida win number 2, hopefully. Next up, the Nashville Predators, a team who was 1-6 their last 7 games. And it's their second game back after that trip in Sweden for this team. Usually you have your legs for the first game. You don't for the second. We saw it last year with teams coming back from Europe. Played well in the first game, did not play well in the second game. This will be their second game since that trip. Next up after that, the Philadelphia Flyers. Regression setting in on this Flyers team. They lost 3 of the last 4, and they've already played the Florida Panthers twice. Both home teams winning, Florida winning early in the season 2-1, and then losing in Philadelphia. They'll take the season series here by beating the Flyers. And then finally, the Calgary Flames, a team who is 2-10 on the road, minus 21 goal differential. And you want to talk about brutal schedules? This is Calgary's schedule before the game. They are in Buffalo tonight. Then they fly home to Calgary. They fly to Vancouver after that. Then they make the cross-country north to south trip down to Tampa and play the Florida Panthers. And they have a back-to-back mixed in and only 1 travel day. That is as bad of a travel schedule for a bad team like the Calgary Flames. Give me Florida to go 5-0 or 4-1 at the worst on this look ahead.
Carm, I'm going to start calling you the weatherman. You're forecasting the future here, and you've done a pretty good job of that over the last handful of years. That looking at a couple teams and a couple games that I think that are going to be pretty good to bet on. And I think this Florida Panthers team, we just talked about the Atlantic Division, Carm. The Atlantic Division is so interesting because all the Florida Panthers had to do over the first month and a half was just stay afloat, stay in one line. That's all they've done. They've been about break even, this Florida Panthers team. That's all they've needed to do. That's all they've really needed. And with that, they're going to go on a bit of a run with an advantageous schedule. So great stuff by you. We'll be keeping tabs on that, Carm. We'll be keeping tabs on that for you to see how it ends up going. But I'll tell you, I like that angle with the second game for the team off the Europe trip. So you think that maybe they're focused for the first one, but then they can lose focus for that second one, or the fatigue settles in. Maybe the jet lag almost kind of takes some time to settle in a little bit.
Yeah, it does, because, you know, I remember looking back last year, I think in the year before, and I thought, I'm going to fade these teams making that trip back from like Finland or whatever. And I think one of them was Detroit. And Detroit, like, I think their first game back, they pitched like a shutout. It was unbelievable. I'm like, where did this team find the legs or whatever, right? So it's one of those ones where you don't bet the first one, you bet the second one, and you look to see how this team responds. Like, you know, Nashville, they split those 2 games with Pittsburgh in Sweden. You know, they travel back. They haven't played in like 5 or 6 days. They will play, as I mentioned, they will play a game prior to that. I'm trying to remember who they, if you give me a second, Andrew, I'm going to bring it up real quickly. I'm just looking for the Preds game. I believe it's on Friday is their first game. I could be wrong. Maybe it's on Saturday. But, you know, with that said, still getting back to it. Yeah. So Nashville plays their first game against Colorado, who, you know, they're going to have a tough time against Colorado. If they play their best against Colorado, I think the tank is empty by the time they play this Florida team. So it's like you said, and that's a perfect way of looking at it, in a conference in which no team has been a true runaway as of yet. You know, even Carolina has shown kinks in the armor. Florida just has to manage the beginning of their season, start getting a few guys healthy. and then make the playoffs. This is a team that doesn't need to win the Atlantic. This is a team that just needs to make the playoffs, and they will make a deep run. They were the 7th or 8th seed 3 years ago when they made, I think it was the 8th seed, when they made a run to the Stanley Cup Finals. They upset the Bruins, who won the President's Trophy that year. They upset them in the first round, made it to the finals, and then lost to the Vegas Golden Knights. So this is a team that has the pedigree to win on the road. Doesn't need to win games early on. Their wins will come, and I hope they come during this 5-game look ahead.
I like it. And Carm, that's one thing that I've tried to work on more with my handicapping over the years. I think I've been able to do it a little bit more, is betting on one team and not just being satisfied. Okay, they got me one win, I got to find somebody else. Like, you can bet on one team multiple times in a row. Like I people with player props, you bet on the same player over and over and over again. If they're hitting, they're scoring, they're getting their shots, they're getting assists. Why do you have to be one and done? And the Florida Panthers hopefully can go on a streak. Very, very curious to see what happens with the Boston Bruins on this West Coast road trip, though. They're playing some good hockey, but the XG against them is not looking great. The Ducks, can they keep it up? Lots to look forward to. I think it's a pretty decent slate tonight in the NHL. The Oilers off that loss, 5-1 loss against the Buffalo Sabres. Can they bounce back? Very, very interesting stuff to look at for this one. Guys, before I jump into my same game parlay, I will mention this great package we have available. Look, for all of you guys that are interested and serious about getting down long-term, this is the best deal for you. This is for myself. This is for Carmine Bianco as well. This is a $500 off a 1-year pass, just $125 a month. Plus, inside this package, you get a 25% bonus coupon. Look, I know not all of you guys buy plays, and not all of you guys that buy plays like to buy long-term. The best way I can put this is, if you plan on buying plays from WagerTalk, from Carmine, from myself over the next handful of months, the best way to go about this is to go $125 a month, take this special, $500 off. You're going to get CFL, you're going to get MLB, you're going to get NFL, you're going to get NHL, you're going to get every single thing that I release. And Carmine, he's on fire with NFL. He gives you soccer plays, NHL plays, some college football plays, all kinds of great stuff. So you're going to get every single sport that we release. So this is a great deal. I know some of you guys can be intimidated by the bigger price, but longer term, if you plan on betting with us at WagerTalk, this is the best package available right now. $500 off the 1-year pass. And I it's funny. I don't look at seasons as in summer, winter, fall, spring. I look at seasons, Carm, as in sports. It's hockey season. It's March Madness season even. It's CFL and baseball season. And that's what this package is for you guys to ride with us through all kinds of the seasons of the sports that we handicap. And I'm jealous of you, Carm, because for one of the sports that you handicap, there's pretty much games going on 365 days a year, which is pretty cool for you.
Yeah, man. I absolutely love it. Some people took advantage of that promo with me yesterday. So hopefully more jump on board, because there's soccer 365 days pretty much a year. The World Cup is coming up. There's still Champions League soccer, a Premier League, Italian Serie A. I tell my clients there's some leagues that I just won't do because, I've run my numbers at WagerTalk going back to when I first started WagerTalk in 2016. And the leagues that I don't fare well in, I stay out because I think the market prices them well, and it's tough to find an edge on them. Premier League, I can always find an edge on them. MLS, I can, and Italian Serie A. But ones like the Bundesliga in Germany and La Liga in Spain, which are team dominant, Andrew, and the spreads are just so high, and just not good enough on the dogs to want to take them, that I just avoid those ones. NHL, of course, which is obviously great, and then college football and NFL. So we're going to try and keep the ball rolling through all of those. And I'm working on another one of those little checks because I'm doing extremely well in the Circa 5-0 last week in Circa, man. I was pumped. in that one, and I'm within shooting range of first place. I can see my good friend Potato Mish. I think he's up there. He's got an unbelievable record, 42-13. This guy is.
Wow.
Yeah, you know how hard it is to go 42-13 in the NFL, and this guy is. I got to reel him in, man. Even if I finish top 10, 90,000, I'll take it for, and I'll throw one hell of a party. We'll have like a PuckTime meet and greet, and have the people come out and have a good time, have some drinks. With that said,
I'll be flying
Andrew,
to Toronto, Carm. I'll be flying to Toronto. If you win that, I'm hopping on a flight. I'm hopping on a flight the next day.
Why don't we start with small steps? And the small step here is give us a kick-ass same game parlay winner.
Well, we're talking about a big winner there from you here, Carm. This for me is going to be a smaller winner because this is what I have for us here today. We've got a plus 500, plus 498 here. 2 games with 4 picks. Alexander Ovechkin, 3+ shots on goal. He's done very, very well head-to-head in his past against the Edmonton Oilers. Zach Hyman, 1+ point. Guys, he is still up there on the top line. I believe in Zach Hyman as a player, but I also believe in his chemistry with his line mates. This Oilers team lost 5-1 against the Buffalo Sabres. If you want something to do with the Edmonton Oilers tonight, you have to have Zach Hyman on your list. Boston Bruins, Anaheim Ducks. Leo Carlsson has done very well against the Boston Bruins, as has Mason McTavish. We'll take Carlsson to get a point and McTavish to get at least 2 shots on goal. Carm, in my opinion, this is a relatively simple same-game parlay, and it's 5-1. I'll take that, guys. Shop around to get the best one you possibly can, the best price you can. And let me know in the comments if you're riding with this. I love this one here. Let's hit one, 5-1. We only have to hit 1 or 2 each week to come out on top. I like this one quite a bit here, Carm. Let's cash some tickets. For me, 4% best bet up in the NHL. Don't forget about that great 1-year all-access package. And that will be it for me. Oh, also, Carm, I have to mention as well, I got a 5% NFL being loaded for Thursday Night Football, which I'm super excited about on a huge NFL prop run. It is an NFL prop play. So, guys, don't forget to grab that, of course, at WagerTalk.com.
And you just make sure it's not Dalton Kincaid receiving yards, because he's been ruled out for the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
In that game. You know, I know it's a hockey show, and I'm a huge Bills fan. I'm getting together with some friends, my high school friends. It's like 4 old men yelling at the clouds. Andrew, we're going to be at game time. We're going to be watching the Bills game. It's our annual get together, go out for Christmas dinner. We do it early before all the parties start. We're going to be watching the Bills game against Houston. We're going to be watching the Leafs and Columbus. These guys are all going to bet the over anyways. And they're all Leaf fans. It's just, whatever. Maybe I'll show up with a Columbus jersey. I probably should. And then I'll give it away on the show a few days later or whatever. But with that said, Andrew, 5-1 is a good price on a same game parlay. We don't need like those 6-figure plus 23,000 ones that very rarely hit. I like that one, 5-1. Let's bank some money on that one. Let's go OV tonight. Myself, 2 plays up in the NHL, and I'm loading my NFL and college football, and 1 big play in the NHL coming tomorrow. So if you pick up tonight's NHL play, I will likely have a coupon in there for $10 off the 5% play in the NHL that goes on Thursday night. So once that play is loaded, I'll have the coupon put in there if you're picking up tonight's card. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, join the ever-growing community here at WagerTalk, and drop a comment in the comment section once the show is loaded. Let us know who your favorite play is on tonight's card. For myself, Don Buster, Andrew McInnis, this is Puck Time. We will see you on Thursday.